Good morning everyone. Welcome to Daily News Analysis. So today we are going to see certain topics which is important for UPSC, okay, from the newspaper. So we are, in that sense, we are going to take the topics from the current affairs from the newspaper for our UPSC preparation, okay. So I'm very glad after so long time we are meeting. I hope everything is going good there also, right? Okay. So you will get this PDF in the description box, as well as you can scan this QR code to join the Telegram channel for getting the regular updates. You will get that PDF in the Telegram channel as well. Okay. So moving on, today very minimal topics only there. Okay. So the first one is about the pardoning power article in the page number 1, okay, regarding to article 161, what a governor can do. Okay. So in this perspective, we are just going to see in the GS2 paper polity. Okay, so when it comes, we are just going to compare and contrast, like what is first we are going to understand what is pardoning power and its types, and also what we are going to how we are going to compare and study with the president. Okay, so because president and governor, they both have, good morning, okay, so they both have the pardoning power. So we are just going to see what are all the powers are same and what are all the things that is are different for both of them. Okay. So the next one is about the NATO. US is declaring that US is going to withdraw from NATO because of the frustration where it is actually the NATO countries didn't come to help US when it comes to the Iran conflict. Okay? So here we are just going to see in the IR perspective, if you see what is the relation with the declaration of US here, because in our syllabus, in the UPSC CSE syllabus, we have the topics of what? This the neighborhood policies, okay, and the international institutions and forum, how the multipolar world are going to the decisions of by the major powers, how it is going to affect India. In that case, we are going to see it in this. So again, in the GS2 paper, in the IR perspective, it is important for us. We are just going to understand the editorial, okay, what it is exactly happening. Okay, and the third one is about the ECI. Okay, the transfer which in the elections announced one of a state, which is West Bengal, there the senior officials have been changed. So here we are, it is being questioning about the election commission's power and functions. Okay, so see, they are a different body, right? But though they have a larger and a wider space for doing all those administration, and when it comes to the elections, they have the upper hand. But here the problem is the transfer of senior officials is without the consent or any consultation with the state government. So there it is, we would be able to see the separation of powers and the administrative lack are there. So we are just going to see that in the GS2 perspective, okay, in the polity, where or constitutional bodies and the separation of powers are matters for us in the prelims perspective as well as in the mains perspective. Okay, clear with the topics? Shall we move further? So the first one is about the governor bound by the cabinet's advice on the remission. So here if you see the pardoning power, we have certain types. Okay, so the context of this news article here is, okay, it is stating that the Madras High Court stated that the governor does not, the governor doesn't have the arbitrary power here, the discretionary power when it comes to the pardon. Either he can remit or commute. Okay, only this he can do, otherwise he cannot go for the like, there is no arbitrary or any other discretionary power for the governor. Okay, so in the case of president also, there is no there is no absolute discretionary power, but in terms of theoretical, they do have not the real discretionary power, but they have certain things. Okay, when it comes to okay, I didn't get you, Murlidhar. Okay, I didn't get you. Okay, so the thing is about, we are going to see in the polity perspective, right? And the keywords here are important. As I every time I tell you, like, you have to bring the syllabus with you. Okay, so that's how we are going to address the where it is going to apply in our paper. Okay, the pardoning power, okay, and the advice of Council of Ministers. These are some of the keywords, and article 161 is also important here for us. Okay, so the context of this news is Madras High Court ruled that governor is bound by the advice of Council of Ministers, okay, in the remission cases. Okay, and also there is no discretionary power as well that we have discussed. Okay, then so when we talk about the article 161, let's straight away get into the static part. Okay, the article 161 gives the power for governor. Okay, the governor can grant pardon, okay, reprieve, and also respite, remission, and commutation. So if you see what is pardon, the pardon is like if any of a person have committed any crime or any mistake. Okay, so the complete punishment will be, okay, so the complete punishment will be cancelled. Okay, so that is what the major thing here. And when it comes to reprieve, it is a temporary suspension unless and until they have the power, unless and until they have the ability to prove that they didn't convict that mistake, or they to prove their innocence. Okay, so till then they can give the suspension. Okay, when it comes to respite, they will be reducing the severity in the cases of special circumstances like disabilities. Okay, the nature will be same, but the severity will be kind of reduced, the lower one. Okay, so when it comes to the pregnancy and the disability, so based on these special cases, the respite will be applied there. Okay, and the remission is about reducing the duration of the sentence. Here also the nature of the sentence will be same, okay, but it will be having a lesser duration. In case if it is 4 years or 3 years, it will be reduced to 1 year or 2 year based upon their behavior and the conduct. Okay, then the commutation here, it is about replacing the heavier punishment with a lighter one, like death penalty can be transformed into what? The life sentence. Okay, so these kind of things can be done. So these are the types of pardoning power that governor has, and the same will be going to president. So just have the revision for president also. But the only thing that certain things that differs from governor and president is governor can go with the court martial also. If there is any military rule, that can also be changed when it comes to the president, but with the governor it applies only to the state laws. Okay, first thing. And when it comes to the second thing, president can allow the death sentence pardon also, but governor cannot do that. Clear? Okay, so these are the certain things that we have, the differences we will be seeing in detail. Okay, so I hope it is clear till now. Just have a go through about it. So the major thing is about here, the governor cannot act arbitrarily. Instead, he have to take the advice of whom? The council of ministers. Okay, there is no discretionary power. If any pardoning, if there is any opinion is coming for pardoning, okay, so that cannot be arbitrarily or only in the discretion of governor cannot be done. There it is supposed to be the council of ministers advice should be there, and the governor is supposed to bound to their advices. Okay, so they cannot act indifferent to the council of ministers advice. Okay, so the governor cannot pardon death sentence and punishments by court martial. This is the difference that we have talked about, the limitations of article 161. So when it comes to the president, it is article 72. Okay, and also when it comes to the governor, it is article 161. So comparatively we are just going to see. Okay, so the differences here that I have mentioned. Okay, so if you see, if you think like only now the Madras High Court have told, no, it is in the even in the time of 1980 also the Supreme Court have mentioned that, see, according to the Council of Ministers only you have to with the advice of Council of Ministers only you have to go with it. There is no discretionary power. It is very clearly said already. Okay, in M. Radhakrishnan issue. Okay, so is there any other doubt? Okay, so this is the comparison of president and the governor. So the president can give the pardon for what? The central laws and also the court martial. But when it comes to governor, it is only exist for what? The state laws only. So the military or any other higher punishments of other bodies cannot be pardoned by governor. First thing. Second thing, the death sentence can be pardoned by the president, but governor does not have that power. Okay, then the court martial pardon can be given by the president, but it is not available for the governor, and both of them are bounded by the Council of Ministers advice. Okay, clear? So just have a revision about it. Okay, what is the pardoning power? Along with that, whenever you study governor, simultaneously you have to read the president, and the vice versa as well. Okay, so this is the major thing that is needed from this article. Okay, go through it, and if you have any doubt, please let us know. Okay, moving on to the next one, it is about the betrayal foretold. So this article is basically about US withdrawal from NATO. So if you know NATO, it's a North Atlantic organization, right? So they will be having the objective of for a security purpose. Okay, so for the global security purpose, they will be act as a one. If any of the member has been attacked by any other country, rest of the countries will be feeling that they have been attacked. So attacked on one is attacked on all. So they think that, okay, they feel that the attack on the member country will be on them. So everybody in a cumulative way, they are going to counteract the attacking powers. Okay, so here if you see, US is a major led group, major led country in the NATO. Okay, so the higher power is with US, but now the US is going to withdraw from NATO because when it comes to Iran conflict, okay, the NATO countries have had a different opinion. They didn't come for helping the US or Israel, so the frustration have been came. Okay, so why we are studying about this here in the newspaper, why it is important for us is, the major thing here is India and global groupings. So the global groupings, the blocks or any other, the multipolar system is important for India, because if there is any two block system, or if there is no collaborative or any if there is no collaborative cooperation among the countries, it will affect India's growth also. Okay, because we majorly depend upon the foreign market, and we are getting the FDIs also, right? So the raw materials, the new technologies, everything is like we are bifurcating from it. Okay, we are diversifying from every country. So the global groupings interest is also very important for India. Okay, then the effect of policies of developed countries, again when it comes to the economical terms and sovereignty and strategic autonomy, it is important for us. Okay, where we are standing and how we are taking the steps there. And when it comes to the international agencies like UN, okay, NATO, so the addition of members is important here, and also the withdrawal of members, because see, in this context, when the Saudi Arabia and Pakistan had this kind of a collaborative things, so it is kind of where we are already having a good terms with Saudi Arabia, right? So when our different opinion partner, which is our neighbor Pakistan, is joining them, there we will be having slightly different changes in the relationship with Saudi Arabia, and there may be a advantage for Pakistan if in case of any alien ideologies for India. Okay, so that is a major thing. So we are seeing all these things in that international agencies and also the policies of other countries. Okay, clear till now? So you should know like what we are studying and why we are studying. That's why it is a brief explanation here. Moving on, the crux of it is the declaration of withdrawal from NATO. Here US have declared the withdrawal, but there is a check in this, because in the Joe Biden's period, it have been mentioned that US president cannot arbitrarily take a decision to come out of any organization, international organization. Okay, there should be, the Congress should pass 2/3 like special majority kind of things. Okay, so with that only, with the Congress and other people's consultation only, the US president can withdraw. US can withdraw from any international forum unless and until the arbitrary actions cannot be done there. Okay, so it is just a extra information for you. But what is important for us in the prelims perspective, we are going to see what is NATO, established in 1949. Okay, the collective defense against Soviet Union. At that time, the USSR, the Soviet Union, was like very huge, and they were attacking and they were accumulating all the countries with them, right? So after the disintegration of USSR, only the Russia have left now. So against Russia right now, this NATO countries are working on. Okay, then the Article 5 is attack on one, is attack on all, that we have discussed. Okay, so here if you see what the NATO will be majorly focusing, it is about the military assistance, and the alliance. It is not about the economical terms. Here we have to be very clear. Okay, and so earlier it was 12 members, right now it is around 31. Okay, in 2023 and 24, 2 more members have been added. Okay, so these are the fact oriented about NATO. You have to do the homework for the members and who have recently joined in 23 and 24. Okay, so this context here is about the major global power politics here. Okay, so when US is going to withdraw from this NATO, okay, it may give a higher because US have a different financial and also military power in the globe. Okay, it is right now, it is one of a leading power, right? So if there is if that kind of a powerful nation is not bound by any international forum or any rules of the international laws, if they are not bounded by it, it will be working arbitrarily, and it can attack on anybody, and it will be having a destruction, like it will be a huge administrative, and also there will be a fall of balance in the global power, right? So that is why it is important for us to read. Trump have given major criticism, like the paper tiger and everything, but that is not important for us. Okay, so what we are going to see is what is the major cause. There is no support for US when it comes to the Iran conflict, and they didn't help to retrieve the Strait of Hormuz, where the oil security has been a major. मैम नोट्स का PDF दे दो, आपको मिल जाएंगे बेटा, आपको डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में है, you can take that. ठीक है, I'll ensure that it is reaching your hands, don't worry. ठीक है, so this is the major thing that we are focusing here. One is the Strait of Hormuz. It is still with the Iran's hand. Okay, the control is with the Iran's hand, and they are not able to. The NATO countries did not help US in this Iran conflict. Okay, there is no support from the NATO countries. So here, if you see, we are further moving towards EU, right? So we are extending the market. So stability of EU is also very important, because EU majorly depends upon whom? The US defense alliances and everything. Okay, so right now, for having the balanced global power, EU have to go with the independent defense systems and defense things. Okay, the military alliances, everything have to be independent, and also the US have to be like bounded in any of the international laws, where it will be easy for the other global powers to have a collaborative coexistence. Okay, so if you see here, okay, so the major problem why we are reading about is here in the international relations, it reflects the structural shift in global power, where the US is moving out of the multipolar system and it is trying to be one huge power. Okay, and the dynamics and the multipolar order. Okay, so the context here is US frustration about the lack of support in Iran's conflict by NATO, and also the disruptive oil supply of from Strait of Hormuz, which is affecting US also, and also other countries, which is where US is losing the market at times. Okay, there is a lot of opposition also coming towards US, specifically to Mr. Trump, right? So this is one of a kind which is weakening the US activeness in the Iran region. Okay, so in this way we are going to see, when NATO is not helping with US, we are able to see there is a strain in Western unity. We are able to see what there is no unity in the Western. There is a imbalance power of there is an imbalance in the power. Okay, and second thing is about the rise of middle powers. This is the major thing. Okay, so here if you see, if there is no connection or collaborative things, if any mediatory for like US or any other country, okay, if the mediator is there, then the mediator will be growing than the actual input. Like if India and India is in one side, okay, US have gone from, for example, US have gone from all the international forums. Okay, so if we want to talk to US, if we want to get any market from US, at that time what we have to do is like we have to depend upon any other country which is in good terms with US, right? So when I want to go for any if I want to approach US, I have to go through these mediatory countries, right? So at that time, the finance or any other facilities will be blooming in that intermediary country, okay, which is the middle powers, the developing, and the other countries will be losing their hold there, okay. So that is a major thing. And the multipolar world, which is there is kind of a shift right now. Instead of multipolar, it will be becoming like very individual things, okay. Different countries will be moving out of the international forum, and there won't be any collaborative rules, okay, where everybody will be bounded for one particular objective or any other. There will be no collective growth, okay. Instead, it will be a race, like I want to bring my own country there. So that is what discussed here. Just have a go through about it, okay. Nothing much from here, okay. So if there is any other doubt, we can discuss, or else we will move forward, okay. Here one controversial thing here is, like, not controversial thing, but one different thing here is even Russian Russian president, right, Vladimir Putin, he also have a different opinion on NATO. So when two different blocks, okay, US and Russia, the two major powers, they are having a unsatisfied opinion with the NATO, then it is kind of a downfall for those organizations, and it shows that somewhere or the other there is no proper collaboration, okay, there is no proper connectivity with the countries. There will be loss of hope, and people will be withdrawing from these kind of organizations, and it will be hell. Would you explain Tamil, ma'am? Kausalya, actually there is a lot of people, those who don't know Tamil, so I cannot explain things in Tamil. I will keep the pace very slow in English. That I think that would be helpful. Okay, I'm really sorry about it, Kausalya. I cannot explain things in Tamil here. Okay. So the next topic is about ECI transfer controversy, top quotes clarification. So here ECI have transferred certain senior officials in West Bengal. Okay, now in 2026 there are certain states who are facing elections, right, like Tamil Nadu, the Puducherry UT, and also West Bengal. All these people are facing the elections right now. So in this problem, like this article is based upon the sudden, without any consent or without any consultation with the state government, ECI have completely shifted the senior officials. Okay, so here what it happened is, it struck the state's administration, because see, senior officials like DCP and everybody, it is very important for the state's conduct, right? So without any information, without any consultation, if the after elections, after announcing the elections, if it has been changed, the complete administration will be paralyzed. There won't be any held, okay, there won't be any hold for the state to function further. Okay, so that is a major concern here we are talking about. So this article is talking about the article 324, how it is being used by the ECI, Election Commission of India, to justify its action. So just because ECI is having the roles and responsibilities of conducting free and fair elections, the constitution have given them a particular a wider space for working, okay, but it does not means like the separation of powers or the federalism have to be overcome. So here it in this article it have been mentioned that, see, ECI is a strong one, but it is not above everybody, okay, so they have to go with certain collaborative moves also, like they have to have the consultation with the state governments also. Okay, so this is what the major thing that have been discussed here. So first thing is about like what is the power and functions, at what extent ECI can be working, okay, and also the scope and powers of article 324, and what is the issue which is happening with this wider space, and what can be done for settling down this wider concern. Okay, so first thing, In the state of West Bengal, the Chief Secretary and Director General of Police, the head of state administration and the head of police force were among several officials transferred. One more thing, it's not about only the state administration, it is about all India services as well. Okay? So when you see here, the all India services will be having a different set of rules and regulations, but when it comes, they have appointed to any state, they will be taken care by the state government. So that's why at many states, like the all India services, like the IAS officers and IPS officers, they will be having a contradictory with state governments. Okay, so the state governments there, they will be having an upper health, like they have the responsibilities of them. Okay, not the absolute one, but they have some responsibility, they will be working under them only. So if there is any transfer, that should be concerned with the state government as well. Okay, so here the major thing is about the states administration heads, and also the all India services have been changed without the consent of state government, where it is showing the ECI have a higher authority, and it have given a downfall for the state government's policy powers. Okay, so that is what the major thing is here. So when it comes to Article 324, the Constitution, okay, and the superintendent's direction and control of elections to be vested in an election commission to justify such actions. Which actions? Which they are making for the free and fair election. So that is kind of a justification there, but it have clearly mentioned, okay, that such powers can be used only where the field of unoccupied by a statute, but when there is any other occupied, like the state government is active there, at that time we cannot go for it, and there is a lot of limitations also. So the major limitations have been also mentioned here, we will be seeing one by one. Okay, so the keywords for the article will be separation of powers, representation of People's Act, okay, the powers and functions of ECI, and also all India services. Okay, and apart from that, article 324. Okay, so this is the crux. What is the news? Okay, why it is in the news? The ECI transferred higher officials in election bounded states without any consent of the state government. Okay, so if you see this, okay, the article 324 and scope of powers, the Supreme Court of India had in Mohinder Singh Gill and the Chief Election Commissioner case, okay, in 1978, and in the host of other cases held that article 324 is a plenary provision. This is also one of a keyword, plenary provision. Okay, so which is in fact a reservoir of powers that can be used by the ECI whenever the need arises to ensure free and fair elections. But in all such cases, the court has added a rider that such powers can be used only where the field is unoccupied by a state. So to conduct a free and fair elections, ECI have a higher power, but there should be some consultations also should be there here. Okay, so it is not about like unfettered powers to the election commission of India. Okay, getting the point? Okay, now if we see, okay, so we will be seeing the responsibilities of ECI based upon this. So the responsibilities of ECI will be to cover powers, okay, duties and functions of many sorts, administrative or other, depending on the circumstances when it comes to the article 324. Okay, so the two limitations that have been mentioned here is Parliament or any state legislature had made valid law relating to or in connection with elections, the commission shall act in conformity with, not in violation of such provisions. Okay, so article 324 is a reservoir of power to act, but it cannot bypass the state government, first thing. And second thing is about commission shall be responsible to the rule of law, act bona fide and be admissible to the norms. So here they will be having certain norms and they will be responsible to the rule of law here. They are not superior here. Okay, so okay, okay, so when it comes to the power of ECI, the election commission will be conducting the elections of whom? The Lok Sabha election and also the state assembly election, apart from the presidents and vice president elections also. Okay, to prepare the electoral rolls, where we have saw the SIR, in the SIR also we have seen the roles of ECI, right? And also free and fair elections. We know the major objective of ECI is to conduct the free and fair elections. Also monitor elections expenditure, okay, the property details, okay, of every candidate and also their criminal background, and if there is any freebies are given unnecessarily, or if there is any other political agenda that is influencing people during those elections. So all these will be monitored, and the expenditure that have been made by every government or every party, that will be monitored by the election commission. And also the model code of conduct, how the elections is going to happen, all these things will be discussed by ECI only. So the limitations: cannot act against existing laws, okay, no independent administration machinery, state officials dependency. If you see here, for conducting the elections, ECI will be depending upon the state governance only, okay. When it comes to the poll booth members, okay, those who are checking the electorals, okay, electoral list and everything, the state government's teachers, okay, the government school teachers and also government officials will be posted for those all poll booth and other works. They are depend upon completely on the state officials. So here it is very important for ECI to consult with the state government, okay. Then this is about the article 324, and this is the case that we have discussed, okay. So please read about this, and if you have any doubt, please let me know. So the other thing here they have discussed is, okay, the major thing, okay, it is true that the court has held that article 324, okay, so 324 has plenary powers to ensure free and fair election, but the court has never dealt with the transfer of the senior most officers in state by the ECI, taking the state governments by surprise and resulting in a paralysis of the administration, okay. The exercise of its plenary powers under article 324. Apart from that, the court has itself clarified that if the field is occupied by the law, the ECI needs to be obey that law, okay. Here where they are talking about the consultation of state government, okay. And also the unchecked power, where the ECI have been given the help or like upper held of article 324, but it cannot be always used in a broader ways, okay. There is limitations also, they have to bound to them, okay. That is what mentioned here in this article, okay. And it have been mentioned by the Supreme Court also. So there will be, in case of if there is any like unchecked power without any consultation, if it is happening, the court will be intervening and they will be striking it down, okay. So that's it for the day. If you have any doubt, please let me know, otherwise we will wind up the session, okay.